Life Check Yourself with Larry Michel. Stop swiping. This 30-year relationship expert says there's a better way. Welcome back to another episode of Life Check Yourself. I was thinking this morning when we renamed this podcast, we couldn't decide whether to say Life Check Yourself or Life Check Yourself. But either way, today's guest is going to help you do that. Larry Michel, also known as the Love Shepherd. He has been doing so many incredible things in the arena of personal development. He's the founder of the Institute of Genetic Energetics. He is a coach. He's a speaker. He is a producer and author of Lasting 11 Illumination and Essential Questions for a Co-Creative Evolutionary Partnership. He has been contributing in the dating, matchmaking, and relationship space for over 3 decades. Before there was an eHarmony or a Match.com. And his latest book is called Lasting, pulls it all together in an unexpected and profound way. Let's just start with that. If you take an aggregation of 30 years in the love and relationship space, has anything really changed about how humans connect, or has the society and culture made it more challenging for humans to connect?
Oh my gosh. Well, I think lots of things have changed, Marnie, for sure. I remember at the beginning of eHarmony and Match.com and Plenty of Fish, that was like, what is this? What are they doing here? And one's got this free service, let's go there. This other one that's got this expensive service, but they guarantee that they're going to match us. Let's go there. It was fascinating, and that was kind of the beginning of let's meet people online instead of in person. So changes, yeah, huge back then.
I think that what's happened because of that is it's almost like the humans have become a commodity, right? Where we're like, okay, there's the good ones and there's the bad ones, like how can I aggregate the good ones, And so how is that helping and how is that hurting people?
Well, I think anytime we make ourselves a commodity, it's hurting us, plain and simple, no matter what the situation is. And I think that's an appropriate word for what's happened online. And it certainly was, way back at the beginning. Because, my background with the Institute of Genetic Energetics is that we have a really profound system for helping people understand how aligned they are and compatible they are. And we went to bring it into the matchmaking world. We wanted to install it into eHarmony or install it into Match.com. And they would get all really excited about it until they found out that people got matched really quickly. And then they weren't excited anymore because they needed to have someone join them and stay with them for at least $100 worth of services, or they lost money. So if someone comes in and says, we can match you in a week, that doesn't work. And we were like going, why don't they want us? This is so good. And so commodity, yeah, that was what was happening. And anything that you were paying for was like, okay, you give us your money and we'll do what we can to get you connected, but not too quickly because we got to make our money back first. I think people didn't realize that at the beginning. That was tough times.
Yeah, I think the other thing that people don't realize is that all these online dating sites they are tech companies at the heart, right? And so we have to learn how to use the technology, right? We have to use the algorithm. We have to use the way it's showing you who you're getting shown. And I think people don't realize that. They sort of go in and they're like imagining it's just a crowded room and that they're getting shown everyone who's there. But like, unless you kind of do it in a strategic way,
No, you're not even getting close to showing everyone that's there, right? I mean, how infuriating is it? And it still is today. Like you can go, okay, where's your location? Well, I want to meet someone within 2 to 10 miles of where I live, or 2 to 20 miles. And next thing you know, like I'm in San Diego and it's trying to introduce me to someone in Oregon, right? And I'm going, woo.
Why are you not listening to me?
You're not listening, right? Yeah. Or, or an age group. There is a beautiful one. So you want an age group, and then you have people of all different ages, right?
Yeah.
It's just, it's challenging. And I think it's entertaining. It does get people to get clear. I mean, these days, if you step back and go, okay, how am I presenting myself? And it has helped people get more clear about how they really want to show up and what's the real authentic person, and there are some sites that are really great at wanting to see authenticity. In fact, there's a couple sites out there, I think, that even ask friends to provide feedback on other people so that it's not just me saying what I am, right? But all of those are, they're inroads. They're nothing more than a way to see if there's some interest, and as quickly as possible, what I always say, meet someone in person or get on the phone with them, get on a Zoom call with them.
Right.
I can't tell you the number of people that I've had this experience, but I have clients that tell me as soon as I ask to get on a Zoom call, they're gone.
Right.
They disappear. So what is it? I mean, that was like you and I doing an interview right now. And I go, no, I don't want you to see me. No, can you imagine?
Yeah. Well, yeah. And it's, there's just there's strategies to filter. So I want to talk, before we talk about lasting, because I definitely want to make sure we talk about your book. I know that everyone who was been listening so far is like, wait, Larry could match me in a week? Like, wait, rewind. What did he say? Can you talk about that work,
genetic energetics?
Yeah, the genetic energetics. There's the 4 answer. You've got all of your stuff, your personal energetic profile.
Whoa. Okay. That wasn't supposed to happen.
That's all good. We good. We edit. That's why Imran's here. Yes. So I'm sure that everyone who's listening so far is like, can you just go back to that thing where Larry said we could get matched in a week? And I know that you have your assessment and the institute. And so can you how does that work? Because obviously we want to talk about your book also. And let's just start with.
We could spend a lot of time on genetic energetics. So I will kind of give you this short version of that. This is a science that I was introduced to, gosh, it's almost 20 years ago now, Marnie. It was very close to.
I remember when you first came out.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I think you were one of the first people in this industry that I ever met and got a chance to meet. I was actually nervous. I'm going, wait, she's a celebrity. What's this going to be like?
Oh my God.
You are. So, just own it, dear.
Oh, thank you.
But I remember that. And when essentially what it is it's the oldest system known to humankind that has us identify at an energetic level those people that we want to connect with and that we're comfortable connecting with. It even identifies who we're going to have chemistry with. And when I was introduced to this 20 years ago, I thought, whoa, that's a big statement. Was that really real? And I was asked to come help this company out. It was called Match Matrix at the time. And I just went, well, it really told me some great things about myself. And it certainly explained this relationship that didn't work. And I went, yeah, but you'd only ask me a few questions. And so I need to find out if this is really efficacious, as if it's true.
Right.
So I got given the opportunity to spend 2 years interviewing couples, Marnie, and I interviewed a little over 1,000 couples in that period of time.
Wow.
And it was never wrong. It was just never wrong. And I went, okay, there's something here. I don't really know how it works. And I kind of don't even care as much right now because it's been so accurate. And then some scientists came in and did some research on us, and there were journal articles published and all that kind of stuff, which is fun. But all that aside, what it told us is that there's different ways we communicate and that we process information, that we relate to money, and that we sexually engage. And chemistry plays a huge role in our decision-making factors because, when chemistry's around, we have these on.
Right?
You're going,
if you're watching this on YouTube, you just got the jackpot. If you're listening to it, Larry put on these awesome sunglasses that are shaped like hearts that are
this is it,
these are rose-colored glasses.
It's exactly it, right? So we put these on and we're all doped up on all these brain chemicals. So that influences our decisions. And here's this system that's able to identify when that's going to happen and tell us what to do when that happens. And what it did is it really quickly, and at the start, the people who own the company said you needed to find someone who was exactly like you or it would never work.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? And so I kind of went, well, I'm seeing that when people are really similar, it's an easier relationship for sure. But the reality is, Marnie, there's lots of people that come in our lives that are not exact energetic matches to us. The challenge is that if we're talking to someone, I want someone to talk to me the way I talk to them. That feels good. Or understand me the way I understand them. That feels great. But that's not the reality. There are lots of people that get into relationships that are not perfect matches. And so what I discovered when I spent 2 years interviewing people is it wasn't so much finding the perfect match. It was about giving them an understanding of what's happening. So instead of blaming or shaming or having resentment or guilt or just, angry because you misunderstood me, we got to acknowledge and honor and accept and accommodate. And that's a whole different ballgame. That's a whole different ballgame. And so, we could spend hours talking about how genetic energetics helps, influences, and what can be learned from it. And, I'm happy to go that way with anybody. But the bottom line really is, if we're in a good inquiry space and we have the right information available to us, we can get along with all kinds of people, and everyone shows up in our life for a reason.
Right.
Always. And it might not be for a lifetime relationship, but it may be for in this time to give us some understanding of ourselves or what's going on in the world that takes us to the next level up. So we're constantly emerging and evolving. And if we can do that without making up stories, then we're in great shape. And most people make up just can I say this? A shit ton of stories.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no, I think this is such an important part because I think on one hand, because it is a commodity, humans are a commodity in the dating space, that there isn't, and I was just talking to a client about this today, that there is whether you know it or not, you have this expectation of what the perfect person relationship should look like. And that it's got these criteria. And so you're constantly measuring against these criteria that may or may not be the right metrics. And then when someone doesn't understand you or doesn't do things the way you do, you rule them out. And I think that's just interesting as well, because if you ask any person, are you actually expecting to find the exact same version of you, except in the opposite sex, if that's who you're into? People are like, that's ridiculous, right? But I just had someone say, she made a list of all the things about her partner that annoy her. And one of them, which just made me laugh, was, if she's listening, I love it because this is just such a great thing. It was I don't understand why when he cooks, he has to set the timer. Why can he not just look at it or taste it and see that it's done? And I was like, oh, I thought everyone sets a timer. I mean, I set a timer, right? But that's such a, right? And she was like, it's so annoying. Why can't he just? But that's a great example, right? Of like, I couldn't even imagine not setting a timer. And it is literally one of the things that she actually wrote down about what makes her crazy about her partner.
Wow. And I probably would have asked her, do you like the way the food comes out? I
Well,
mean,
I was like, but he's
when
cooking
you
for
eat
you.
it, is it awesome? Because, maybe what if the person, like, instead of set a timer, ran out and bought the food and brought it back and then served it to you? Would that be okay? There's just people, when they get stuck on things like that, it's like, I want you to be just like me.
Yes. And that's the point I was trying to make. And
Yeah.
that's unrealistic. So if you always want someone to be just like you, then you're never in the inquiry that you were talking about of like, let me understand you. So why do we need to switch from what's wrong with you to how can I understand you to actually find a lasting relationship?
Well, inquiry is the game. That's where it all starts. We were born seekers, Marnie. All of us, from the time we were little kids, we're born going, what's this? What's that? What does this mean? We asked all kinds of questions. I mean, the first thing we did when we came out was look for sustenance. Let me find something to get some milk here, right? So we've been seekers, but then we get conditioned to conclude and judge. And that conclusion and judgment is, it's justified saying, well, this helps me get answers quickly. This protects me from things that I'm afraid of. This, it does all these different things to help me kind of navigate this very complex world. But the reality is it actually doesn't. Because when we conclude and judge, when we're asking questions looking for proof, we never really get it. We get what looks like proof. We get which we manufactured and want it to look a certain way. But we always, and I mean this when I say always, discover that's not exactly what we wanted. Right? So the converse, the other way to do it is going to inquiry, asking questions, not looking for proof, but allowing yourself to be surprised by the truth. Like, I want to know who you are. Tell me more about you. Tell me what you do. And not be listening for them to be someone that has got millions of dollars in the bank or wants to travel all around the world. Allow that to be a surprise, right? Or you find out the person is a painter that doesn't really care about money, but loves to get their artwork out, wants to move people with their art. And, perhaps you discover that, wow, you know what? This is something that when you say that, I feel like I just got met, or I feel at home in my body, and realize that surprise is telling you something about yourself that this person showed up for you to discover.
Well,
right?
that is what I hear so often from clients and people that have found their partner. They're like, what was really amazing was this person is more than what I thought I wanted, because they also showed me this, that, and the other thing that I didn't even know I needed in my life. And if you're always ruling people out because of these 4 things, then you're going to miss out on a lot of growth and opportunity.
Yeah, look, if you want someone to put a timer, or you want someone to cook their food without a timer, right? I don't know, that person might be a chef. They might be really good at that, and they can look and see and smell and go, oh, this is just right. And the other person has a different strategy, but comes up with some really great recipes, right? And instead of focusing on the timer, be surprised with what you get. I mean, serendipity is a wonderful thing, and co-creation, I talk about this in my book. Without co-creation, no relationship will last over time. And so you've got to give yourself an opportunity to be in an inquiry space with someone where you're not trying to figure out exactly how to do something, but you're allowing this magnificent, if you will, plate of food to appear.
Yes. So let's talk about your book, right? Because you say, like, in 30 years, you've brought it all together. And I love the title, Lasting. I always like to hear, like, what was the genesis of the book? Like, where did it come from?
So this is so wild, Marnie, because I had no plans to write this book. I actually was working and still am working on two other books.
Oh my gosh.
And
Okay.
and a friend came to me. This was last year, early last year, and he'd just gone through a breakup, and he goes, Larry, I must be the stupidest person in the world. What do I need to ask? What kind of questions do I need to ask so this doesn't happen to me? This is the second 5 year long relationship that just imploded over time. I need, isn't there a way to figure out if there's a possibility, a better possibility in advance? And I went, yeah, there is. And I had actually, Marnie, almost 12 years ago, and I just found out this couple that I worked with are pregnant. I'm so excited.
Oh,
Uh,
yay.
but this couple came to me that were really happy. They didn't have any challenges, which was like, whoa, this is not usually what shows up.
Right. Yeah.
They didn't have any challenges. They go, we really love each other, but we made mistakes in our last relationship. And we don't want to make mistakes again. So what kind of questions should we be asking? And they asked me this 12 years ago. And I went, well, this is really cool. And I thought, well, let's find out. Let's come up with some questions. And when we studied match matrix genetic energetics 20 years ago, we came up with a 360 question system to help identify things. And I had kind of forgotten about those, but I wanted modern day questions, ones that were related to now. And I went looking and I couldn't find anything. There were a couple books out that said, here's 101 questions to know, ask before you get married. And I'm going, oh, these are really like, this isn't doing it. But you know where I found them? I found the best questions when I met a priest.
I love it.
Who said, well, we have a set of questions. And then I went, well, I'm going to call my rabbi. And I called him. He said, yeah, we have a set of questions. What groups would have questions? Of course, the ones that want to keep relationships lasting the longest.
I love
so
that.
They keep everything in the fold. And there were great questions there. So I started to assemble these way back when. And it was, and then I got involved in everything else and I went, okay, I've done this. Let me think about it. I'm not sure I want to write this because I'm writing another book, but when it was put in front of me, it was one of those things. It's kind of like if you've ever gone into a store that sells crystals and things like that.
Yeah.
And you're looking at all these crystals and you pick one up, you go, oh, look at that. And you pick it up and you go, oh, that's kind of expensive. No, I'm not going to buy that. And then but you really want it, right?
Right.
And then you go, okay, I'm going to walk away from it. And my rule was always, if you can't get past 3 blocks and get it off your mind, then you probably were supposed to have it, go back and get it, right?
Yeah.
If you can get a couple blocks away and you don't care anymore, wasn't yours.
Right.
So this book kept coming back. And I went, okay, I'm going to write it. And we gathered up well over 300 or 400 questions. And then we had to whittle them down to categories. And then I looked at it and I went, you know what? It's not so much the question we ask, but it's how we ask the question and how we listen to the answers that make the biggest difference.
Oh, nice. I love that.
Right? That we can ask all kinds of questions, but are we really listening? Are we really curious? If someone gives us like a quick answer, do we just accept that answer for what it is? Or do we go, I'm curious, why did you say that?
Right.
And go deeper. And most of us don't. And so I looked at it and I went, okay, we'll come up with these questions, but we need guidelines.
Okay.
For how to go at it. And that's where the 11 illuminations came in.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the 11. I love these. They're like 11, like they're like a framework or foundations of like, I don't know. How do you describe them? They're just so powerful.
Well, we had an endorsement come in recently that said you've written the new 10 commandments for modern day partnerships.
Oh, I love that. That's so great.
I went, wow, that's kind of a lofty statement, but
yeah,
I'll take it. What I was looking for is like, well, let me just step to the side and then I'll come back and answer that question. While this was all happening, Marnie, for me, I have been doing what I call love restoration work for years and years. And mostly it's couples that come to me that are there's a tragedy, there's something happening, and they're, in deep stuff
Yeah.
and looking for a way to restore the love, to restore their relationship. Repair is
Yeah.
what they're looking to do. And there's value in that. When someone's in a bad situation, repair is important. But what was happening, I'm going, what's going on in this industry? 85% at least of the professionals, the therapists, the counselors, the psychologists, the psychedelic assisted therapies, all of these are looking at how to repair something that's broken. And I went, this is back asswards. We need to prepare more than repair for something to last. And it's kind of like Western medicine versus Eastern medicine, right?
Right.
Eastern medicine is going to look for what is underlying this situation that caused the dis-ease. Western medicine is saying, let's just set this broken arm, or let's suture up this cut in the hand, but never ask, how did you get cut?
Right.
Yeah, right. Were you holding the knife the wrong way?
Right,
You've been back 3 times, right?
Yep.
So we need to, and it was just nagging at me. I'm going, we've got to help people be more prepared for a quality relationship. So now back to the Illuminations, what's going to help people prepared? Well, we have to start with inquiry, which is kind of what we started at the beginning. We've got to get to a place where we're truly asking questions with a child's mind, a beginner's mind, so we can discover who we're really experiencing, right? And then be discerning after that, but just allow ourselves to be in the surprise. We need to be able to do things like take the word love, which is one of the most powerful, most used words in the English language, but it has caused more death and destruction than it has happiness. And why? Because love gets leveraged against behaviors. And love is not a verb. It's not an action. Love is our life force. We are love. I mean, we are love. Everybody listening, if you're breathing, you are love. You got up this morning, did the most unconditionally loving thing you could do. You chose another day. And that's your life force. That's there. Now, things may go wrong in our lives, or our relationship may have got broken or fell apart on us, and it feels like our heart's broken, but it's not. Our heart's there. We just have to work through whatever the trauma or the adversity or whatever happened to us so that we can find ourselves again. Right?
I love that. That's so beautiful. I'm looking at, Larry gave me an advanced copy of the book, so I'm very excited about that. But I almost think like these 11 illuminations, they're almost like the framework for like your marriage vows, right? Like these are the commitments that you're going to hold to create a space of love expansion, I guess I would call it, from what you're describing it.
Well, deep connection, finding a partner that you can grow and emerge and discover with all the things that you may want to do, whatever you value. Being able to just discover those values and then talk to someone and see if it's theirs is really important. But if we get all the things out of the way that cause us not to be able to actually see and reveal and embrace the person in front of us, then, what's the point of even asking questions?
Well, that's so true. So it says here that the 11 illuminations are behaviors and truths that will shift how we see ourselves and our partner, helping to build a connection that transcends labels and expectations. So in the book, you're recommending almost like a protocol of like how to go through and use these, whether you are repairing or preparing. Why did you set it up to be to have this format, to be this thing that you're doing with your partner? And then my follow-up question is, and what if your person is like, I don't want to do that stuff. That's, I'm not into that.
So I had someone ask me, and they go, so what's the objective of the book? And I said, well, the objective of the book is that someone shows up in your life, you want to discover if this is your person, or someone's in your life and you want to find out what maybe you're missing that can up level, that can take your relationship to the next level, right? You make it more extraordinary, more evolutionary, whatever it might be. And so first we had to be able to get to a place where we could ask really great questions and hear them. And so let's look at that foundation. And that's all these things: inquiry, love, clarity, attractions, being non-judgmental, being able to accept differences, authentically relate, and communicate well. My goodness, that would be important, right?
Yeah, for
Be
sure.
courageously intimate, and co-creation, and even create environments that are healthy for us to have those conversations. If we have those down, now we're ready to go in and ask questions. And ultimately, what's going to happen now is we're going to celebrate. We're either going to celebrate that we've discovered in advance of going into a relationship that collapses in 2 or 3 years or 2 months or whatever. We found out in advance that I really dig you, but we are not partners, right?
Right.
And celebrate that and go, yes. And you basically probably have just found a new best friend forever.
Right.
But not the person that you want to be living with and be in love with and creating a future with, right? At least not.
Yeah, I think that's a really good distinction, by the way.
Right.
Like, someone doesn't have to be bad to not be your partner, right? So like being more discerning.
Right. So you get to celebrate either it's not us, or you get to celebrate, oh my God, I had no idea that you were exactly who I wanted. Right. And the two people together can go, I've learned so much about you. In just being able to ask questions and get the answers that are so revealing. And the book is in 2 parts, right? So the first part is these illuminations, sets the groundwork. And we tell people at the beginning, don't go ahead and look at the questions. Please just wait.
Right. So you get,
because I don't want people to look at the questions and try and figure out what the best answer is before they get together with their partner.
Right.
Do those questions together. And the questions are not just, there's no yes, no answer questions. Not in the entire thing. There's not a single question where you can go yes or no.
Love that.
Every question involves really a reveal, and every question is followed up with and why. So we're asking people to not just ask and get the first answer, but go deep. Because it's always the next answer down or the next answer below that. Or if you get 7 levels deep, you've got to someone's soul, right? And
let me ask you a question. I just want to make sure we cover this. So, because I was just talking to someone who's like, I love my partner. He's amazing, yada, yada. But like, honestly, like he just does not talk about his feelings. He doesn't talk about what's going on. It's really hard for him. So what do you do if you get to part 2? So let's just talk about part 2. And your person is like, not yes, no, but like, da, 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 da.
Well, that's the first part of the book is going to handle that to some point.
Love that. Okay, great. Love it.
So when we talk about communication, we talk about courageous intimacy. This is setting people up to be excited to reveal the stuff that even scares the shit out of them, Marty. Right? And there are, gosh, as men in this culture, we've been raised for the most part to keep our emotions inside, to fix things, to provide for, to not complain, right? And just get stuff done. And so we don't talk a whole lot about our emotions. We don't reveal them a whole lot. But the reality is inside, the emotions are every bit as strong and powerful and causing us to take action and move as what is outside on other people. And so how do we get in there? It's got to be safe.
Yeah.
If we feel safe and we feel heard, then more than anything, and I love this expression, we want to feel at home. And I don't mean at home like inside our house. I mean like at home inside our body, where this conversation and connection has me go, this is a comfortable place.
This is so good. Yeah, I love that.
This is yeah, I feel at home. And yeah, there may be work to do at home, right? There always is. We're messy humans. That's going to be the case. But from this place, I want to do this with you because you see me here. You want to see me here. You're not going to judge me. You are going to tell me your truth. And it's not going to be based on what I must do for you, but your truth as it impacts you. So I get to see it. And you're going to ask me for my truth and really want to see that. You know, if you can do that with people, whether they're your life partner or not, these are your closest friends. These are the people that help us make it through our lives every day, right? Because we are not caught up in crazy stories or beliefs that have us angry or aggravated, or we're projecting on someone why and who they are and how could you possibly be doing these things. We're not making decisions not knowing enough about a person to even make a decision. And so it really gets us to have the ability to relax even in the most tumultuous times.
That's so beautiful. Okay, my last question. We could talk about this forever. Of the questions, I'm like loving them. What do you think is your favorite, or you think like the most unasked conversation that people have when they're in a relationship?
Oh my gosh.
I mean, how many are there, by the way?
That's a good question. It makes it good.
That's so
yeah,
good.
Because I haven't been asked that question, and it's like when you work with 200 or 300 questions over a period of time, you don't have favorites anymore.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, what's the one you think that the people like just, because I was looking at some of them, like, okay, like mission or purpose or values or, like some of them, maybe people do have those conversations just in the, getting to know you. But is there one that really stood out to you as like, wow, this is a really important one that people that just naturally or normally, organically may not come up when you're dating or connecting with someone?
I think this one comes up, but it's not it's an example of where a question can go wrong.
Okay.
And I actually write about it in the book, and it has to do with family. Mm-hmm. Has to do with do you want to have children? Which, by the way, if I ask that, that's a yes/no question. So if I asked you, Marnie, do you want to have kids? And you went, oh, hell no. And I want to have kids. I'm going, oh my God, I so think this is my person, but she doesn't want to have kids. And I just assumed that was your answer because you went, oh, hell no.
Right.
If I stopped there and went, well, wow, that surprised me. Why did you say that? I may discover that the hell no is not hell no totally. It means not right now, because I want to finish this career thing that I'm on, and I don't believe I can have kids and get my legal degree at the same time. Or it may be that I grew up with a dozen kids, and I've been around so many kids, I'm kid out, right?
Right, yeah.
Or I can't have children, but I'm willing to adopt. So there's all these other answers that we get. And by the time we're done, if a relationship is really that strong and children is something that they both appreciate and desire, how they get there may change radically. It may be an adoption. It may be, some other form of bringing children into your life. It may be that you already have children and you're super cautious about getting into a relationship with a new person. And these questions are in this book. How are you going to relate to my kids? What do you feel is your responsibility?
So good.
And we get into that. And here's the other piece about the questions in the book. There's not just one answer, there's three. There's you, me, and we, if you noticed under those
Yeah, I saw
questions.
that. Yep.
So if I asked you a question, it's like, what's your answer? And then what's my answer? And then we is what's our answer. Right? And by the time you finish those three questions, you know so much more about yourself and the other.
I love
It's
this.
just, I mean, it's better than a good movie.
I'm like, okay, so I'm going to make this. So when Jeremy and I sit down and have dinner, because it's the two of us now, he's going to love it. I'm being so sarcastic, but in the end he will. I'm going to be like, we're going to do one question. I mean, there's 300, so that's like a year, but like, we're going to go through and just have a conversation about all these things. Cause I think some of them I would be like, oh, I think I know his answer, but some of them I would just love to hear cause I'm probably wrong. And how has it changed? Because we've been together for like 16 years. When's the book coming out? I mean, I got this advanced review copy in February, but I saw that it's from December. So when is it going to be out?
So you can still pre-order the book now, and I think we might have a link for that, which is great. And there's all kinds of little extra things that you can get with the book. But when you pre-order now, as of this week, you're going to be able to download a copy that you can play on a Kindle or a pad of some sort.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
Printed book is going to be later this year because the public, now we're in kind of the scheduling for publishers. And so I'm in that publishing time frame.
So sometime by the end of 2025, it'll be in print, but you can get it now on Kindle.
Yeah, you can get it now. And we're probably going to have a pre-release printed version as well. And the audio version, I'm working on that right now. So the audio version will be out hopefully sooner, probably close to when we do a first print release.
Oh my gosh, it's so exciting.
Yeah.
I really encourage, whether you're in a relationship, whether you're dating, someone who just met, and it's getting serious. Like what a great tool. Like I said, I really literally, people ask me all the time, what do I talk about on a date? Like, what should I say? So I'm going to start recommending, this book, Lasting, so great, by Larry Michel and Michelle Rooney. Is that your partner?
No, Michelle is a good friend of mine, and we had been working on some other projects together, and I did something that I didn't know was going to be so valuable. I asked her if she wanted to be part of this book with me. And what I didn't realize I had done, and it's so obvious afterwards, is I made myself accountable to someone else, Marnie. And I got the book written really fast because of that. And Michelle was like, she was there. I would write a piece and I would send it to her and she'd ask me questions and I go, oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. So she was like a partner editor, if you will, and contributor, and helped a lot with the questions in the back and the flower of life motif that it's built with was hers. So, I couldn't have completed the book without her.
Oh, I love that. That's so amazing. Well, I'm so happy to be part of you bringing all your 30 years of wisdom into one amazing resource. I think it's so important to think about prepare, not just repair. But what a beautiful, beautiful legacy you're leaving in this book that you've put together. So ladies, make sure you check the show notes, pre-order, get the Kindle, put it on your to-be list.
And go get your personal energetic profile. That's here too.
Yes, so and definitely do that.
Definitely do that. That's
been going on for a long time and it's really, really successful and effective. And put that together and this is going to be your year, ladies, if this is your goal. Remember, always and in all ways, there's been so many nuggets in here for you. It is your responsibility to life check yourself. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now. Hey, thanks for tuning in today. Listen, if you're feeling stuck, I want you to know you're not alone and you don't have to settle for it. I've created a free quiz to help you pinpoint what's draining your energy and exactly how you can fix it.
So head over to decodeyourdestinyquiz.com and take the 60-second quiz right now. That's decodeyourdestinyquiz.com. And if you're ready to dive deeper, you can book a free no-obligation consultation at marnibatista.com/private coaching. That's Marni, M-A-R-N-I, Batista, B-A-T-T-I-S, as in Sam, T-A.com/private coaching, all one word. Let's take the first step to creating a life you love on your terms. I'm Marni, and I'll see you next time.